Hi, Lori.
Hello.
How come I see different people's faces at different times?
Depends on who's talking.
Okay.
It'll
I'll
show.
shut up then.
So are we ready to roll?
As soon as Matt gives me the okay here.
Okay.
All right, should be good.
Okay, we're good.
Thank
Okay.
you, Matt.
I'm gonna hang up.
All right, yep.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I know this is still, once again, a new experiment for us. I appreciate everybody's efforts in getting here. We'll call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. And Tasia, if you would, please do a roll call for us.
Bruce Belargin, Katie Thermos,
Here.
Marie Colbeth,
Here.
Bob Gunther,
Here.
Patty Jo Forsberg, Catherine Cranston,
Here.
Lori Belargin.
Here.
Oh, and I see Bruce now.
Yep, Bruce, your mic
Yeah,
was.
sorry, I didn't unmute you.
Okay.
Do we know, is Patty Jo going to make it or not?
Haven't heard anything.
Okay.
She did get the invite though.
We'll just keep rolling then. Thank you. So let's read just a reminder to review your protocols, and then on to the second item on the agenda, district mission. If we could read that together, or maybe not. Together we engage, educate, and empower all learners, bridging their passions to pathways to create successful futures and positively contribute to our local and global communities. On to item 3, public comment. Now, I'm not sure how we will handle this. It looked like we would have emails coming in, so did you receive any?
Yeah, no, I haven't, but we'd encourage anyone that wants to comment on the meeting will email me, and then I'll send the email out to the entire board. I have received none though.
All right, so we'll roll right into the construction update then, item 4.
Okay, Bruce and I just finished about an hour and a half or an hour meeting with all the Market and Johnson, Wold architects, and what have you. George was on there. So at these meetings, we kind of assess the progress of where we're at, and some of the changing dynamics of the project in relationship to what we've experienced here over the last few weeks. And I want to refer back to my weekend update as far as we're kind of at a critical point in the venture here where it's pretty evident, from my vantage point, that the kids are not going to be back in the schools this year, which triggers a lot of different things for us as far as maintaining the online and the distance learning pieces that we've had in place, but it also allows the construction companies to get in here early, and it's changed our thinking a little bit about how we're going to go about this project, but hopefully my rationale in my weekend update was clear as far as as we look at this whole virus piece, if the peak of this is going to be in another week or two, the thinking is that this whole social distancing thing is about halfway over, which takes us into June. So knowing that other districts really have, we're to get out on that week of the 11th, where other schools still have 3 weeks or more left of school. It really exasperates our timeline as far as, we don't have a lot of time with these kids, even if they said come back at the end or the beginning of May, which is, I think, totally out of the picture right now. And if we did come back, how many parents would feel their kids are safe in that tight of an environment? And then we'd end up running 2 platforms. I just don't think we could put that load on our teachers. I think they've been doing a great job with the online and the distance piece here. And what I guess I need from you as a board is to kind of say that, we're going to stick with online through the remainder of our time. I checked with the state. We don't have to apply for a waiver. It's very much local control. And administratively, with our team, we feel that we can manage this And I think there's some advantages to us getting into these schools and start tearing them apart early. So first thing is just some discussion on if you understood my message and you think that's a viable approach, then I can continue on with some of the other pieces that I have with the construction piece. So I'll leave it up to the discussion.
Does anyone have any questions or concerns with his thoughts there?
No, I just think whatever he can do, just to move it along. We can't control the schedule at this point.
It seems like a reasonable suggestion to me. I can't see anything happening that's going to change so that we get the kids back to school by the middle of May anyway.
Any other thoughts from anyone else? So I would read that as we are in support of maintaining the online learning through the end of the school year. Doesn't matter if the rest of the state comes back, we will stay with the online. Is that correct?
That's what I'm looking for.
When would you think the online would end?
Well, we'd end that on that. Our new date to end would be Friday, May 8th.
Here's my only concern. And is there any way that as a district, we could still make some resource available for parents that are going to be, still homeschooling because there's no summer school? Parents had planned on, great, May 11th, summer school starts, off they go. Now, May 11th, now I'm homeschooling and I have no support from a teacher at all. And I know we can't put that on individual teachers, but in the bigger picture, can the high school make something available, the middle school, the elementary, some online learning or websites? Do the kids lose their passwords to all of these? Because there's just some fantastic things the kids have been doing from home. Will all of that end May 8th? As a homeschooling parent, that panics me.
So taking it one step at a time, if we first of all, we're going to decide to do what I laid out here, but that was an option that I think, and I don't know, Catherine, if you'd sent me that note and I sent it back to you, I think we can get pretty creative with some of this, depending on when, this whole social distancing thing ends. I would love to give the parents, what I call now our deputized teachers throughout the district, a break some way, or at least providing some type of online structure for them. We did find out that we can offer online summer school. So I think right now the administrative team, we can start putting some ideas together because I totally understand, what parents need, when we're ending this early. So again, let us play with that a little bit and see what we can provide, because if we can start some type of online virtual summer school, we could start that at any point in time, but we have to work out some of the details on what that would look like.
That would be very helpful, and that would at least show the public that we're not just leaving them with nothing.
Yeah. So the other piece with this, and I think I mentioned this in my note, was that we weren't scheduled to do the elementary school until the last week of July and August. I told them you'd have that, the building would be empty, go in, tear it apart, do what you need to do. So what I've asked them to do is start looking at if they can take that elementary building right away, right now, and start working on that. So we could possibly resurrect summer school in the last half of the summer at some point in time. And
that would be helpful. At least it'd be something for parents to offer them some hope.
And hope is a big thing right now. And I think, from my vantage point, whatever we can do to ease this on the parents. I know, I've got grandkids and I know that their struggles with this also. It's not easy, but as soon as we can get some relief of, when we know we have access to the buildings. But I just found out the other day that online will be available. We can offer online services and get reimbursed for them like regular school. So we just talked about it yesterday in our, today in our admin meeting, that, there's some opportunities there. And then just what a late summer school would look like.
Okay, so if a summer school online, teachers that would be optional for them. That like summer school teaching is optional for them.
Correct. Yeah, and they're compensated because we get compensated for that. So I mean, that's what we've been. They get paid for summer school.
Okay, well, I would really, really strongly encourage that we move forward on Examine and really looking at that as an option.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of different things we can do. It's just that, all the stuff, we're thrown into the deep end of the pool on this thing, and every day there's some new thing that comes up that we have to deal with. But this is one that we can wrap our hands around. If we say, boom, we're done now. Now let's start concentrating on what that May 12th and on looks like.
Perfect. Okay, good.
That works.
I really like how, Catherine, you brought that to our attention, because I do think parents are definitely wanting resources. And so even if we were to end on May 8th, is it possible that for anybody that's running late, that there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 resource teachers that could help bridge the gap, should we say? Because this is a first-time experience for many parents, and just to get their kids to complete what they're supposed to, it'd be nice to say they'll all be done on the 8th, but
yeah, no, I think we've got an obligation to do whatever we can.
I appreciate looking into that. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll proceed that way. And what this really triggers is they're going to be coming in for demolition, and you're going to see a lot of action around the high school, middle school in the next couple of weeks here. There'll be a lot of things happening, and that'll trigger some of our other conversation here. As far as our construction meeting today, we talked about moving and packing and what have you, and I got to hand it to our staff, and our support staff was in today, a good number of them. And our buildings are almost 100% packed up. I would say that we've got probably tomorrow and maybe a little bit on Wednesday, and these buildings will be ready to roll. I just can't say enough. All the lockers are empty, classrooms are all set to go. A little bit of work in the media center at the middle school and the high school. The big concern was our science wing and the shops and that, but they're making great progress over there. So they're planning on coming in and hitting it hard, pending the outcome of this meeting here, which now they'll be able to. We just held them off, but they'll be coming in there next week. A couple things from that meeting. For our next meeting, the end of the month, and I'll shoot this out to you the week before, we're going to prioritize a list of all the things that we're looking at as for additions or extras onto this. Like the roundabout, what's the card cost on the roundabout? What are the middle school bathrooms going to cost us? Some of the things that were in the scope, but we took them out until we found out how the bidding came in. So things that we want to put back in there. So we'll have that out to you probably by the 15th, and then we'll have to have some discussion at our next meeting of what we feel that we want to go forward with. Let's see here. Bruce, can you think of anything else that's really significant to this conversation from our meeting?
Just the lunches we were talking about, Mark, possibly moving the lunches to the elementary school. If the construction is going to start in the high school demo, just keeping a minimal amount of people on site. Just with the COVID-19 around, we just don't want to have any construction people have it, or the school that just kind of shuts everything down. So if we can move from the high school to the elementary school, possibly for the lunches through the end of the year.
Yeah, when Dave gets on here, I'll probably have Dave comment on that. Dave's been coordinating all the food service issues and that. And actually, Dave, do you want to just step in right now and comment on the vendors we have and the food service piece?
Sure. Can you hear me, Mark?
Yep.
All right, thanks. So briefly, I wanted to talk about our three main vendors: custodial, transportation, and food service. Custodial, Blue Ribbon. For the time being, they're continuing as normal. There's packing, and they will have other tasks going forward. And we'll reassess that as needed, depending on what the future holds. Food service, Taher, they're down to 2 regular employees working for our meal program. They bill the district per meal, so that's a straight reduction for the district as well. Transportation, Safeway, we have had some discussions with them regarding an MOU to the contract where there's some percentage or some portion of regular daily rates that could still be paid to them. We will be sending you that draft to look at. I'm hoping in the next couple of days. Right now, Trevor's working on it. And then you can review and comment on that. In regard to the food service, we just notified all families today of the change where we're going from 5 days a week to 2 days a week and having multiple days meals provided at each time to reduce contact. And we also let them know we're changing the door of the high school where that will occur. It might be best to let that go, get this new program up and running before we now change them to the elementary. But that's something we can talk about too. And obviously, if we continue on, our hope is to continue that program as long as we're permitted to do so. So the plan has been at some point to move to the elementary.
Dave, I have a question.
Yeah.
Will the meals end on May 8th also?
No, the plan is to go as long as we're permitted. And I believe the waiver goes into early June. That is our hope and our plan. And like I said, as part of that, we anticipate moving to the elementary anyway, rather than staying in the high school. I just think
How many families are using that service?
we have around 150 that signed up. Actually, might be a little higher than that now. It's about half and half for delivery or pickup.
I'm going to make a comment about that because I'm one of the families that picks it up every day. And it is really phenomenal. I mean, they are friendly, they are helpful. I mean, and it's a huge part of our day because it has individually packaged fruits and vegetables. So the kids are getting it, they're super healthy. And it's just, I tell you, having that as long as we can is I've talked to so many families that's a really big part of what the school district is doing for families.
I'm glad to hear that. And like I said, we are trying to do that as long as permitted by the waiver that DPI submitted to the Fed.
And you know what? Just change the signs. Everybody will just go to the elementary school. We always just follow the signs.
That's a good point.
But if you can relay to them how appreciative the families are, and I'm one of them, and it's a huge deal, and they're just perfectly packaged for at least little kids.
I will certainly do that, Catherine.
Any other questions for Dave on this? You know, and Catherine, that's a great point there. You know, I still can't say enough. And anytime you get a chance to pat some of these people on the back, you know, George has been phenomenal. We could use, I think George feels like he's been diced up in thirds right now, but he's doing a phenomenal job. But all the people, I mean, there hasn't been, they've just been overwhelmingly happy to help out. And I don't know if that's the need to get out of the house or what, but it's been good. It's a lot of work, but it's been good spirited. You know, there hasn't been any, complaining or what have you, or at least not to me. But again, I can't say enough good things about, you know, from the administrative team all the way to the support staff and the teachers that, and all the teachers with the distance learning and all that. We are, from my vantage point, we are so far ahead of the other MBC schools, the CISA schools, and for sure what Minnesota is doing. I mean, our people have knocked it out of the park, and that's my assessment of it. So that's all.
One other thing, Dave, also to Safeway, because I don't know who the drivers are, and I know they have a helper with them too, but I see families waving and they wave and people honk and give them thumbs up. So they're really appreciated by families too.
Pass that on. That's all I have with the construction end of related issues, unless there's any other general questions on that I can help you with.
Do we have any other questions for Dr. Bezic? Then we can roll on. I don't mean to talk over anyone, so please speak up if I have. I apologize. We'll roll into item 5, the athletics and activities compensation.
Okay, I'm just going to take a few minutes here because this isn't as, I don't want to say as hot of an issue. We don't have to make a decision on this for a little bit. I've been in meetings with the MBC soups and the CISA soups, trying to gather as much information as I can from what they're proposing. And I found out the other day there's to be a WIA meeting next week, or excuse me, 2 weeks from now, to determine if there's going to be an abbreviated sports season for this year. And I think, with that being said, whatever plans we make now are kind of moot. So I think we should just kind of put that off. But you do have the accurate numbers now as far as what the hard costs are. And I don't have it in front of me here, but I think it was somewhere around, was it 52,000? I think it was, if someone has it in front of them. And it's all over the map with what people are doing. And Trent is on here too. Trent, I don't know if you want to comment.
Yeah. So I know Dr. Bezic had forwarded out the
No, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's Katie. I just got an email from Patty Joe asking if we got an invite because it hasn't shown up.
Oh, I did invite her. I will pop her
Make
out.
sure you have the right email address. Sorry, Trent.
It's okay.
I'm sending it to her right now.
Okay.
I didn't know if you were just waving to say
I was,
hello.
to interrupt. I'm sorry. Thank you.
All good. No, I know Dr. Bezic had forwarded the initial email that I had sent over to him after the previous meeting, just with some general information. And I think within that, you could see that from my vantage point, I'm advocating that we pay our coaches. We ask a lot of our coaches, first and foremost, we ask of them to provide not only a great experience for our kids, but to develop and maintain highly competitive programs. And in order to do so, it's a year-round thing for them. They're allowed now through the WIA in most sports to have contact with their kids during the summer. They're associated with their youth programs. They're running open gyms in the off season, or coordinating them. They're doing player check-ins, coaches meetings, fundraisers. We could go on down the list of all the things that I think we already know that they do and do really well. But even throughout this, they've done a phenomenal job of staying involved with our student athletes, doing check-in meetings, doing team activities in some instances. Track and softball, for example, their seasons had already started. So they had begun practice. They hadn't gotten to the point where they could start competing yet, but they had actually already track, I think, had 10 days in. Softball had, I think, 2 days in before we officially got, shut off. But they've been involved with their kids throughout this. They're sending them workouts in some instances. They're monitoring their involvement in strength and conditioning classes that kids are involved with. So that's just kind of where my vantage point comes from with it. Again, they're budgeted monies. It's not like we're not depending on revenue to come in for this. But again, you saw the email that I pushed out to Dr. Bezic, I think it was early last week. But if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Glad you could join us, Patty Jo. Sorry about the confusion there. Thanks, Trent, for your presentation there. Did anyone have any questions on the handout that we were mailed out earlier?
No, I just want to comment to Trent that, the time our coaches spend in a game or in a practice isn't, I bet it isn't even 50% of what they put in over the course of a year with our athletes and putting out daily challenges and all of that right now. So I completely agree with your statement.
And like Dr. Bezic said, the WIA hasn't officially made a decision yet. At this point, they've kind of been using the term postponed right now, right? Because nothing's been officially canceled. They're set to get together. Their board of control is what they call it again here in a few weeks to kind of get a further update. And I think they're trying to wait out to see where some of this direction comes from the state level too. Because if we're at a safer at home guidelines through May, then it probably won't happen. But I know our coaches and our kids are extremely hopeful, and you can't help but just feel for our kids and coaches knowing how much they put in, and it's eating at them right now.
Patty, Katie, are you waving to say something?
Yeah, please. Because I just want to be upfront here that I'm very skeptical of the reimbursement for this, and I just want to be upfront about that. And I kind of want to explain where I'm coming from. I feel a little bit like I don't have enough information, first of all, Trent. I know that there have been, if we could get, if they track their hours and the number of hours that they've spent doing this stuff, I would feel more confident in reimbursing for that. But we're asking an awful lot of all kinds of our employees in this time. And so I'm just skeptical of paying the coaches when I feel like that money might be better served somewhere else while they're not able to be involved. And I'm a little concerned that music was not included because I don't understand that differentiation, because they've certainly been practicing, and so I didn't understand that at all. So that's just where I'm coming from. I just wanted to give you a heads up.
So do we need a decision tonight on that?
No, not at all. Not at all. And this is more information. We kind of, actually at one point in time, I thought they had already called the season off. So that would put it more of a, okay, what do we want to do? But just finding out that a decision hasn't been made yet, it really gives us some time to, answer some of these questions. Katie's question there about the arts and that, that's a good question too. I haven't looked at that yet or talked to Trent about that. So whatever questions you have, shoot them to me and I'll get you whatever information we have. But I think we got a couple of weeks, we'll put it back on the agenda for our next meeting, and we may know some more by then. We're one of the few districts that pays our people at the end of the season, where a lot of districts pay them, throughout the season, maybe in 1, 2, or 3 different installments. So we've got time on this, but please give me your questions and we'll get them answered.
I'd actually rather have this come back on our May work session, because coaches and activity pay does not get paid out until June. So we have plenty of time before we need to make a decision on this. And if we wait until our May work session, we may have the decision by WIAA.
Yeah, that's perfect. We can definitely wait till then. I have no problem with that.
Thank you, Trent, for the information tonight. We got a few more questions. Hopefully that we can gather that on. Thank you, Dr. Bezic. So then we will move on. Oh, shoot, I moved my... I'll bring that back up. The summer school compensation. Again, Dr. Bezic, back at you.
Okay, this is another one that we'll have to discuss here down the road, and it's not an urgent piece right now because we just don't know what's going to happen with this. But I would assume that whatever we do with the extracurricular or the sports may have some consistency or tie-in with how we want to handle some of this other compensation, and I'm talking more with the administration of it right now. As far as time they've put in and what have you. we're going to have a meeting here coming up in the next few days with them to look at different ways we're going to try and restructure this, whether we're going to have a session or not, or how we're going to help parents. We may have to reconfigure, they may be in charge of something else with, like we're in the conversation we had with Catherine here about how we're going to help students online or what have you. So again, this is really kind of a on hold one also, I think, until I think that May work session would be probably a good time to take this one up too, because to me, it kind of ties into how we're treating this extra compensation for different areas and that. So I would recommend that we just wait till the May work session also with this.
Okay, sounds good. Is that all right with the rest of you?
Yep.
Makes good sense. All right. I'm seeing some nods, so even if I don't hear you, I appreciate the nods. That's a good thing.
Okay.
All right. So then we'll move on to item 7, the extended elementary school year. And
Okay.
back at you.
Yeah, and that again, we could have even taken that one off, because that what I was getting at there was that conversation I think Catherine and I had about what are we going to do at the end of May as far as providing services. So we'll get working on that and see what we can put together. It seems like that's a general consensus from the board that we want to provide some services there. We'll just have to figure out what it's going to look like. So again, that one there is if we stuck with the original construction schedule, where we'd have, my thought was originally, if the elementary wasn't going to be touched until August and July, maybe we could offer something for the elementary kids at the elementary building. But now, since we're flip-flopping the schedule to kind of preserve, the end of the summer and a good start to the school year next year, we'll have to look at something different as far as an online portion or something like that. And there may be a possibility where we can access some rooms around the community here to hold some offsite type things. I don't know yet for sure, but we'll work on all aspects of that. So again, that item there, we don't have to do anything with that.
This is helping us all learn quite a few new things. So then we'll put, if I'm reading this right, we will move the items 5, 6, and 7, athletics and activities compensation, summer school compensation, and the extended elementary school year to the May work session. Is that correct?
Yeah, and again, if we come up with something on this summer work piece here, I'll definitely put it for discussion on our next meeting also, because so many things change with a day's notice here that there's going to be, even at our business meeting, I'm going to have a lot of updates for you.
Okay. So then we will move on to 8, commencement. I'm sorry, did I talk over somebody? All right, on to 8 then, the commencement.
Yeah, Shannon, are you on here?
I am.
Okay,
Yep.
why don't you would you comment on that, and then also that conversation we had today about recognizing and supporting our seniors, maybe touch on that too.
Sure. So, at this point, we are not making any, what I would say, kind of immediate decisions about commencement and our graduation ceremony. It's scheduled for May 31st, and we have not changed the date or made any final decisions in that respect at this point. Have had lots of conversation and communication with our senior class, sending out communication to senior parents, basically letting people know that at this point, we're kind of just taking it week by week. Once we hit May 1st-ish, we'll have a better idea potentially of being able to predict what the health restrictions are as we get closer to May 31st. And then really just kind of talking about what some other options might be if we have to potentially postpone our commencement ceremony, and really, trying to have a lot of input from our seniors and our senior parents about sending me ideas. Lots of things are floating around on social media, which are, some really cool ideas and things we can look at. At this point, my message has been, we will frankly do whatever it takes to make sure that we can honor and celebrate our senior class, knowing that, the end of this school year for them has been less than ideal. You pile some of the graduation stuff on top of, prom being canceled for April 25th, senior memory night, senior picnic, kind of all those big events that our seniors look forward to, celebration of excellence, all those things at this point have been kind of wiped off the table for the moment. So trying to just really be creative. And as I said, having some good conversations with our students about some other ideas and options. Those things could include potentially having an outdoor ceremony at our football field. That would be, dependent on kind of the status of construction at any point, whether it's from May through the summer. We realize if our class really wants to have a traditional ceremony, we may look at holding it someplace else, if that's possible throughout the summer. And then, as I said, we've had a lot of other really creative and kind of fun, frankly, ideas that have been brought to me by parents and kids of just looking at some other ways of doing it, which we're all super open to. So, kind of for the immediate day right now, nothing has been decided. We're kind of on track for May 31st, if and until we have to make a change. Mark was kind of referencing today at our admin meeting. I had brought up just some other ideas and things, and none that I want to talk about publicly yet, because some of them are a surprise for our senior class, or some things that we are putting together as a staff, having some conversations about, some of them big, some of them little, just to kind of let our seniors in particular know that we are very aware of the fact that the end of this year is not ideal for them. So trying to just create some different memories than what we maybe anticipated. So some things in the works, some things that we're excited about, we think kids will be excited about, but trying to just keep those connections going, obviously with all of our kids, but really kind of putting some priority in our seniors right now, just trying to create some memories for them here in these last couple months. So.
Shannon, I didn't know that those were top secret plans. I'm sorry to put you on.
That's okay. That's all right. So
we won't ask any questions. We'll just leave it at that. So if I understood you right, though, right now it's on the book still for May 31st until we hear otherwise.
So I'd say, our plan right now is to kind of get through April. And when we hit kind of that first week in May, then be able to make some decisions. So
which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a mailing going out probably tomorrow sometime. That's just another update of everything that's going on. And what Shannon's dealing with here, a lot of the things are just we could take them in stride, but there's a lot of anxious people, parents and seniors, what have you, around this whole commencement, whatever. So whatever we can do to ease some of that. That tension or what have you. There'll be a mailing going out tomorrow. I shouldn't say a mailing. There'll be an electronic letter going out from me that'll talk about a lot of these different things as far as food service, construction issues, and things like that. Link to different sites where they can get information, to help navigate through this again. So that's kind of our game plan there.
Sounds good. I think we're all learning where to look for more communications and to add to it, enhance it. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Shannon?
Nope. On this topic, that should be good.
Very good. Then we will scoot on to 9, which is the fall 2020, Katie Francis's presentation. Are you with us, Katie?
No, but Shannon will take that.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon.
Yep. Sorry, I'm going to turn my video back on here just in case. Yep. So I chatted with Katie today. It should be fairly self-explanatory at this point. Really just, you guys should be used to this process at this point, just taking a look at all the classes that our students have kind of designated they would like the opportunity to be able to participate in off campus next fall. Katie and our counselors go through a pretty rigorous process just to kind of double and triple check the classes that we're approving in terms of making sure that those classes are not classes that we already offer at the high school. So we have a lot of ongoing conversations about that. If there's any specific questions, happy to answer that. But this was just kind of your first opportunity to take a look at the classes that kids are hoping to take off campus next fall.
I really appreciate the way they really lay out what we do offer. And that is comparable, so that they really are screening that we can offer what we do. Although I must admit, Cade was very happy to get 9 credits going into college. So it's nice that that's available to them too.
Yep.
I'm glad that we're offering it in the school though as well. That's wonderful. Any other questions from anyone else on this?
Yes, I sent an email to Katie Francis earlier today and she responded to all my questions. I hope, however, that on the document, there's a class called composition that is approved, and there's a bunch of other composition classes that are not. The reason this particular composition is approved is because it's music composition. Could we add that to the document so that people in the community who look at it and see, you know, why is this composition class approved, but the other ones were not? So it's clear.
I think that's a really good suggestion.
You bet. I will make a note.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yep.
And maybe, Lori, you maybe already emailed that back to Katie too.
Well, yeah.
But
Yeah,
you're talking about, Shannon.
She was going to fix it because, you know, she said, you know, she apologized for the confusion and that it wasn't clear and that it was music composition. So I thought she was going to fix it, but I don't think it's been done.
Okay, she might not have had time yet, or we may have an old attachment. I thought it did on mine, but I'd have to go back. Thank you. Anything else on that? Yep, Katie?
Can I just say, I really appreciate the work they're doing to make sure, you know, I want to provide that opportunity as we're required to do, but I appreciate the overview of the courses to see if we already offer it. So please thank them for me. I know it's a lot of work.
I will pass it on.
Thank you.
Is there anything else on that?
Well, I really like how they're doing the document now. It makes it a lot easier to follow and understand. So I appreciate it as well.
Awesome.
Very good.
Got it.
Thank you. All right. You can talk over me if I've missed you, but it looks like we'll move on to item 10, topics for action. We're looking for a motion if someone is willing.
So moved.
Katie is making the motion to recommend the school board approve the reduction in graduation requirements to 15 credits as required by our Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Lori. Do we want to add in there anything about it being specifically for this year's graduating class?
I was going to suggest the same thing. It should say just for class of 2020.
Are you okay with that, Katie?
Yes.
And
Absolutely. Yeah, it said that in Shannon's letter to us.
Yep. It just didn't on the motion I was reading off the agenda. So I wanted to be sure we did have that in there, please.
Yep.
So any questions on that?
I had a email conversation with Shannon earlier today about the civics exam. And so even though it's not spelled out in there, the civics class is part of the social studies. Shannon, do you want to talk about that?
I can. Yep. So Lori had asked me about civics in particular because with our civics class comes a required civics exam by the state of Wisconsin that all graduates have to have. And so Lori, correct me if I'm wrong in terms of the question you were asking me, but so she was inquiring if we had any current seniors that still have not taken the required civics exam. And so our dialogue was kind of twofold. One being, we do have a couple seniors that are actually taking civics right now. And even though we've obviously moved to 100% distance learning, all of our students that are in civics class second semester, even though we're doing it online, are still going to take the state civics exam online from home. So the few that we have left that have not taken the exam, that will be taken care of in the next month or so. Even if we had decided that we weren't going to have students take that test, the state of Wisconsin is giving any high school a waiver to basically, you know, for this particular semester, knowing that all the things that are going on, that if we have seniors in particular that have entered the semester that have not yet taken that exam, we could fill out a piece of paper and they could be waived from the exam. So we're kind of covered both ways. Like I said, we have probably 2 or 3 kids that fall into that boat, and I'm not concerned. We're going to have them take the civics test because they're in civics right now, and it makes the most sense, and they'll do just fine. So,
Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Shannon, for your input on both those items, actually all 3 of those. So then we have a motion on the table and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? So that motion passes. So now we're at the once around the table.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. So I'm going to start with who I can see. Katie, I see you first. Do you have anything?
No, just want to give a real shout out to all the employees of the district. Thank you so much. I know this has been a bomb in your workplace, and I appreciate everybody's extra efforts.
They have been doing phenomenally. Lori, I see you next.
I agree with Katie's comment wholeheartedly. I am curious, however, about the speech. When I went through that document that we are going to approve for the early college credit courses, I counted 7 courses that I'm wondering if we still had a speech teacher in our district. If those courses would be covered in our district. I counted 7 course possibilities with a total of 29 students. And that's just for fall semester. And I see those kinds of classes and those numbers on the spring one as well. So I'd like some more information about if it would be more economical to have a speech teacher in our district again.
Good question. I'll definitely dive into that with our admin team.
Thank you.
All right, Bruce.
Mark, are we set on the May 8th being the last day? Is that a finalized thing?
Well, see, we would have gone into that next week with the snow day and what have you, but now we've got a professional development day coming up here that we can kind of back off of that. So right now, we talked of May 8th being our last day of school. That would get us, if we were in session, that would have given us enough hours to that date. So that'll be our terminal date now. But again, with our conversation, we're going to look at extending some type of services out front.
That's what I was wondering. I remember talking about the teachers being technically having some days or hours in hand. And since we are going to be, May 8th, do we push, for that virtual, since we're not coming back, since we kind of approved tonight not coming back, do we push for a little extended extra couple weeks? And maybe that's a headache, but I'm guessing a lot of other schools will be doing that same virtual for the rest of the year. Just something to bring up maybe at the team.
I tell you what I can do, Bruce. I can, we'll run back through the hours and everything, or the minutes and what have you. And, there was a significant amount of days that we were going to forgive. And I can't, right now I can't remember off the top of my head if it was 8 or 12. I just don't have that in front of me right now. But I can provide you with, here's the contract days that we didn't use. Because again, we were going to use that week of the 12th for packing, cleaning, and what have you.
Yep.
So now, if we want to have some discussion around that, take into consideration, they kind of did double duty here this last week and a half with maintaining their online work or their distance work and also packing. So I'll get you the time that I think that we have, but then we'll have to take some, let me massage this a little bit and give it to you as far as what you want to do at that time.
Okay.
If that makes sense to you. I just don't know what that time is right now, but we have been asking them to do double duty with our teaching portion of our employees. Because again, as hope that's clear that they've been maintaining their curriculum work online and distance, but then we've also had them in packing also. So again, we'll have to wiggle that out and see what it comes to and what you guys want to do with that. But yeah, to answer your question, Bruce, there is time there that, if you wanted to require some type of online component, for whatever days are left, sure can do that. And again, that wasn't the intent, but times have changed since we've.
Right. I mean, we're just, we're going to have a lot longer where we're not going to have school and, an extra week or two.
Yeah, I'll get that information to you, and then we can have a discussion as how we want to proceed with that.
All right, I see Bruce muted his, so he must be done. So Catherine?
I thought of that too, Bruce, but my thought is that we've already put so much on them, on the instructional staff.
Yeah.
That's why I think that maybe starting an online summer school right away, then it would be the staff that wants to continue to do it, the staff that can do it. If you're at home and you've got 3 of your own kids and you're trying to provide this online, it's really been tough. But we have a lot of staff that doesn't have kids at home, and maybe they would want to step up and do some of the online stuff. I thought that was kind of a happy medium between what you're thinking and leaving them out in the lurch.
That's a good idea. And believe me, my wife would not want to be one of those people.
That's why I think we should give them an option.
Yep. No,
let us do a little thinking on that, okay?
All right, Catherine, did you have anything else?
That's it.
All right, so I don't see Bob on here. Bob, you got anything?
I do not. Thank you.
How about you, Patty Jo?
I just know that it's been going pretty smoothly for living it with kids that are going through it. Even though
I read from you as a parent.
Yep, I'm having some slacker kids and having great communications with the teachers and stuff like that going on. So I don't really. It's been going really well for it's like they're making the best out of it that they can. So I really commend our staff for doing that. And other than that, that's it, because these babies don't want me to be alone. So I'm sorry for being late. I didn't see the invite.
No, that's all right. We're glad you could come when you did.
Yeah.
Katie, I'm glad you picked up on it, because I did not see your email until after she said something. So
I was like, oh, crap. But
it worked. All right. So yes, I would extend or reiterate what they're saying. I'm so appreciative of all the efforts that the district staff, employees, everyone, including you, Dr. Bezic, are putting in, administration, our support staff, and it's just been a quite an experience, I'm sure. I do agree with Bruce and Catherine as far as it'll be valuable to have resources, and I know you're going to work on that. Some point of reference for families whose kids don't finish on the 8th. I don't want panic to set in for those. And then, Lori, I took it. I do appreciate the work you and Katie and Patty Jo have put in on the policies. And you're right that the policies often reference statutes, but when we're actually putting verbiage into the policy that is directed by statute, would you be okay with including a reference to it then, rather than just us putting the words in there? So where that you're wanting it actually in the body of that policy or any policy, putting in that paragraph, this statute addresses that, just like if you were writing a paper and you have to document the sources, rather than assuming that people know that there's that little statute notation at the bottom of the policy. When it's actually the verbiage, I think it's a little bit clearer if you put it right in there, if you're going to repeat it. So that's my suggestion. Otherwise, was there anything else? If not, I'm sorry.
Scheduling our next meeting via remotely.
As of this point in time, as long as we have this social distancing order on us, I would suggest that we just go, because it still eliminates basically anybody from coming to our meeting. And if this works for you, we'll just continue this until further notice.
My understanding
of continuing remotely as long as the governor's order is in place.
And I think he's out through April 29th, if I read correctly. So that would put our next meeting for sure on video. Is that all right? Or is that how everyone else is understanding it as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we will plan on the next meeting in April here to be on video as well. Thank you for everyone that took the time to join us tonight. Pam, I saw you're there. Sarah, I saw you're there. Trish, I think I saw you too. So I appreciate your guys coming in tonight. And I think this worked very well. Thanks, Matt, for the hands-on, getting us going on it. We can only get better at it. Same with all this other stuff, right? So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Patty Jo. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bruce. So we've got a motion and a second to adjourn at 7:25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, Tasia.
You bet. Have a good night.
You too. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Trying to figure out how to leave.
Me too.